A YouTuber named Stephanie Famelli hears screaming coming from her daughter's school bus. Multiple kids shouting at the top of their lungs, not necessarily for help, but completely terrified from the sound of it. The driver is shouting something back at them, but to no avail. She creeps up on them without making a sound, but just when Stephanie is about to see for herself what the screaming is all about, the bus suddenly pulls away around the corner, kids yelling all the while,
"Bye bye bus."
Be quiet.
According to her daughter, the kids were screaming that for no reason other than to make the driver mad, but we all know that sometimes kids will make up stories when the truth is too uncomfortable to say, and considering the bus driver was replaced soon after, who knows what was really happening in there.
What is up? We are back, and right now we just hit a random abandoned, haunted, like really haunted house apparently. New Hope, PA is well known for a lot of abandoned, maybe haunted paranormal sites. Alright guys, so like I said before, we are exploring a really haunted house in a really haunted town. Apparently, I don't know the exact story on it, but Tim, what was it? People left because of this house for being so like haunted or like paranormal, stuff like that.
Kyle McGran goes exploring upstairs, and while filming random rooms, a person briefly appears in the mirror. It could have been one of his friends, but this person is covered in darkness despite standing in an area that's well lit. At the other end of the house is a small boarded up attic that fills them with dread upon entering.
Bro, this room is creepy. Literally left a lot of stuff, shoes. Yo, the movie is called Without a Trace.
I know it was a 90s movie, but finding a videotape called Without a Trace in the middle of an attic of an abandoned house where the family mysteriously disappeared is not a good sign. Nor is anything that's stained red.
Yo, it's red in there.
Oh my god.
Some sort of scary voice is caught on tape, one belonging to a ghost or a demon that none of them seemed to hear at the time. They go downstairs into an old creepy basement that makes them feel so overwhelmed with fear that they only make it one step further before they turn around. Something tells me this is where the family still is. It seemed that whatever haunted this family has only grown stronger over time and drives Kyle's group away in less than 10 minutes. A CCTV gym camera captures this slow-moving white object at 6 in the morning. The strange shape appears to float in midair and even slightly changes form at times. Paranormal or not, experts have been ultimately unable to determine the source of this fluttering figure. I guess it might be a piece of lint or something that got stuck on the lens of the camera, but the way it slowly sways without going anywhere makes me think that this really could be a classic haunting. Imagine waking up one morning and finding this thing lurking in one of the most intimate areas of your home. That's the reaction of a YouTuber named Stefani Van Tinnen and her mother upon finding a huge rat in their toilet. They start talking about how to get rid of the giant rodent and finally come up with a plan. When coaching it to jump into the bag doesn't work, Stefani grabs a glove and a towel, and with the help of her mother, finally gets it inside of the bag. Her mother runs outside of the house and puts the rat in the front lawn. My question is, do you think you would have had the courage to grab a possibly diseased rat straight from a sewer like they did, or would you have called Animal Control Services? To be honest, I probably would have contacted Animal Control Services. Anyone who's still in school has no doubt learned by now that remote learning is not very fun. However, every once in a while something will happen to liven up the lesson, or in this case, make it absolutely terrifying. This teacher has been cooped up all by himself for far too long and really doesn't seem to be enjoying his job or much of anything nowadays. To make things worse, the students keep playing a joke on him by saying that there is something watching him from behind. He knows that students like to mess with their teachers however they can, and so he tells them that it's just him and his dog living there and no one else. Little does he know how truly wrong he is.
Tanto el movimiento no existe, relacionado con lo que dice Raúl, el gato de... No me suena la tinga, en alemán, pero en inglés.
Around the corner is the pale grim face of a ghost, half covered in shadows as it peers in from the dark hallway. I wonder if her other side is twisted and disfigured. We never get to see. In true paranormal fashion, the scary face dares not to enter the light and retreats before its discovery. The teacher goes on to explain that he just moved into this house, and so there's no way anyone is behind him.
Estoy solo, estoy con mi perro.
But once again, he is schooled by the supernatural.
Por ahí, en ocasiones, las llamadas paradojas. ¿Alguien sabe qué es una paradoja?
The door opens without anyone touching it, and as the girl retreats into the next room, his dog, who has been quiet this whole time, starts barking out like a stranger is near. It whimpers as he closes the door. The poor thing definitely doesn't want to be left alone. A TikToker named Brandy Sawyer is exploring an abandoned house with some friends and thinks she sees a ghost before they even get inside. It's standing in the center top right window, the vague outline of a person pressed against the glass. If you don't see anything, let me circle the head. Do you see it now? What's weird is that the windows above and below are clean, and even the top part of this window is clean too, and yet this one section is hard to see through and contains a round floating object, possibly a face, that seems to follow their moves. Mother deer aimlessly walks in circles while its young grazes nearby. You can tell that one of her fawns senses that something is deeply wrong with its mother at the 1 minute 23 second mark, but it can't tell exactly what the problem is. Judging from the deer's high steps and low grass, it seems to have some sort of neurological problem, most likely CWD. According to the uploader, the mother deer wandered over to a nearby creek and fell into the water. She was unable to lift her neck out of the shallow water and passed away. They have been leaving some corn for the fawn to survive on. Hopefully they do not get CWD as well. A small cluster of weird deep-sea creatures seem to be embedded inside a piece of coral that broke off and floated ashore. One of the creatures is still moving and seems to retreat from the camera upon getting sighted. I wonder what they look like out of their coral encasement, probably even scarier. Anyway, no one has identified these unknown creatures in the comments, and the uploader of this video describes them only as weird creatures at the beach and leaves it at that. So let's help solve the mystery and figure out what these are. 20 years ago, this hospital was abandoned. Now urban explorer Luan Mendez is ready to investigate the hospital to see if it's haunted. He's exploring the hospital in search of the scariest place he can think of, the morgue, because that's where a ghost is most likely to be caught on camera. The only problem is he and his team aren't exactly sure where it is, and soon they get twisted up in a maze of hospital hallways. The ghost of a nurse is said to roam these halls. They don't see anyone, and yet every room they pass leaves them feeling more watched, more creeped out. A figure sprints past without making a sound, and I think this is a real ghost sighting because the ghost hunters are walking, and you can hear their footsteps loud and clear. Meanwhile, the apparition is running full speed, but there are no footsteps, which shouldn't be possible. Listen again. They investigate the floor and find no footprints. Someone, perhaps a ghost, was just running down the hall, but the dust is undisturbed. Further evidence that this was a real ghost in the hospital hallway. They're scared, but they keep exploring the abandoned building, eventually coming across some more weird things in the nursery area. Creepy stuff like this picture of a child on a rope that scares them. Creepy stuff like a rotten offering of some sort, stuck against the wall in what appears to be a bizarre ritual. On the ground, they see two small red dots and begin following the splatter pattern. And what they found at the end still haunts the ghost hunters to this day.
Deixa eu só dar uma respirada, irmão.
something swings upside down, and if you look directly behind them, you'll see it's in the same creepy room that they just showed on camera. So where could this thing have been hiding? And when they gather enough courage to check a second time, nothing is there. A YouTuber named Leviathan is on a hiking trip when he hears strange noises in the distance. Just when he seriously suspects that he's not alone in the woods, a series of large footprints confirms his suspicions. He now fears for his safety and has already decided to leave when he hears the same noises again, much closer now than before. The predatory call encourages him to make a quick retreat back to civilization. Leviathan still has no idea what was making this noise or exactly how large it was. Believe it or not, this doll is scarier than she looks. Published by Rota X in November of 2020. They encounter this creepy doll directly upon entering, covered in red. Let's hope that's paint. And then this happens. After they're running away as fast as they can from the demon doll, they realize a presence is still with them. It makes itself known via the EMF meter. Has whatever possessed that doll latched onto them? Time to call an exorcist. A YouTuber named High Gear and his friend are riding dirt bikes in the Russian woods when one of them almost gets their head taken clean off. His friend ducks just in time to avoid a steel cable that's been stretched tightly between two trees. The tripwire would have done some serious damage if he hadn't moved out of the way. They think it's a trap set by some psycho lurking in the forest. You can hear the anger and disgust in his voice as he talks about what they should do next. He even talks about hiding in the woods for a while and getting revenge on whoever returns to the spot. Ultimately, they decide to simply disarm the trap and take the wire cable with them. If this video is real, then whoever set this trap must still be out there waiting for their next chance, so I hope High Gear and his friends stay safe out there. In Mexico, a security guard was making his rounds at a store when he captured these paranormal manifestations on camera. First, he sees this spooky cart playing mind games.
Ahí está la primera cosa. No mames, no mames.
He later enters what appears to be a storage room, and the mannequins attack.
Así normalmente es. Casi toda la basura es de aquí, de Soriana. Todo lo que te... No mames.
He continues his tour when a scary Santa starts to dance.
Hola amigo, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? No vengo a molestarte. A ver, vamos a acercarnos poquito. No, si me da quiz.
Well, this one is clearly automated. What triggered it? The guard leaves the room and returns, and again Santa comes to life and then jumps ship.
¿Qué pedo? No manches. Ay, qué pedo, no manches.
What do you make of this creepy series of events? In my opinion, while the automated Santa may have just been malfunctioning, the shopping cart and mannequin are harder to dismiss. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by a sleepad8673, this redditor wrote, Randonautica at its finest. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Oh, it smells horrible. Oh, yeah. It's in the middle of the woods.
So the keys have to be in the
Yeah.
kitchen, right?
Yeah. The lights came on.
It appears this Redditor stumbled upon a creepy abandoned car in the middle of nowhere with the help of Randonautica. In the comments, Chi Jojo said, "This is like the third Randonautica video I've seen of cars being abandoned in the middle of the woods. One had a child's voice coming out of nowhere saying, 'Do you want to play?' Strange indeed." To which the Redditor who found this car replied, "I'm so glad there's no audible EVPs asking me if I want to play, especially a child's voice. For some reason, that's even creepier. Somebody on Reddit helped me get the VIN number and ran it. Came back with an alert for a reported stolen vehicle, so it appears this abandoned car was stolen. Now the question on my mind is, who took the car and left it here?" YouTuber Stephen G faced a very common fear in this video. Someone secretly living in their house. He says that a couple years ago, he discovered a person living in his basement, in a closet under a table and a pile of bicycles. Surprisingly, the squatter had been living there for 3 months without ever being detected. Well, already this is creepy enough, but wait, it gets even creepier. Steve leads viewers from the front door of what appears to be an apartment building to his apartment, showing viewers where a stairway leads upstairs to the second and third floors. There is a random door to the side of this stairway with a window above. He notes that the door doesn't have a knob. He said that he just noticed the window yesterday, even though he's been living in this building for 3 years. So naturally, he broke in, unlocking the window for a search. And what he found was pretty terrifying. A makeshift bed appears in this random storage closet. The bed is a simple pile of blankets and a pillow, situated on a mezzanine of sorts that sits above the below door. There are also boxes in the corner and what appears to be a key laying off to the side. In part 2 of the video series, Steve manages to loop what he thinks is a key with a ski pole, but discovers it's just a keychain. In part 4 of the video series, as some YouTube comments duly note, the sheets that were originally on the bed are now folded and set on top of it. Other YouTubers note a clownish looking face appears in the bottom right hand corner of the window towards the end of the video. Yikes. Steve also says that he confronted the landlord about the space, which is obviously being lived in, and the landlord made a joke about it, saying that when he gets in a fight with his wife, he lays low in this secret room. I don't know what's creepier, a secret squatter or a landlord using this space for his own man cave in your home. These videos were taken at the annual Global Citizen Music Festival of 2018 in New York City. Everyone is enjoying the late night concert until a crowd of people suddenly start trying to escape and basically cause a stampede. Nobody knows what they are running from, and they won't find out until much later, but everybody is moving fast and afraid for their lives. Their voices are filled with panic and raw fear fuels their every step as they grab their friends and try to get out as fast they can.
What the just happened?
What's going on? Do you know what's
I have no idea what's happening.
The situation becomes all too real when a head officer of the NYPD comes on stage and makes a brief and serious sounding announcement.
Please, everybody stop! Remain calm! Remain calm! Try and open up the fence in the back! We're trying to get everybody to remain calm! Try to move backwards!
Try to move backwards is all the police will say without any further explanation, which sends everyone into even more of an uproar. Those who make it out find the entrance is swarming with emergency vehicles, but still nobody knows why. As it turns out, the source of the commotion was a large steel barricade that fell over and made a loud banging noise. The bang carried throughout the venue and sounded like someone discharging a firearm, which caused a panic. I can only imagine how stressful this must have been for everybody, especially when none of them know what is wrong at the time. Fortunately, a strong police presence was able to keep the evacuation orderly and help stop people from trampling over each other. A YouTuber named JD Gaming and 4 friends explore a nearby abandoned nursing home. They are hesitant to approach the building because they keep thinking they see movement inside, but they convince themselves that it's just their nerves and head through the doors. Sitting on the front counter, they spot some toothpaste and what could be food of some kind. Let me know what it is he's pointing at on the right here. Whatever it is, they probably should have left as soon as they found these items, because chances are someone is on their way back if they aren't already inside. They instead decide to walk around the perimeter of the building one more time. Before getting out of there, JD Gaming is busy pointing at something else when out of the corner of his eye, he sees movement by the far side of the fence and whirls around.
Oh, that's what.
It's hard to make out at first, but look closely and you'll see what appears to be a person jumping the fence to confront them. He's wearing a red hoodie and kind of blends in. I do see what JD Gaming is talking about, but I'm not sure if this is a person, a tree, or the red tin roof of a shed. Real or not, the group quickly turns around and runs away 3 times faster than they came. Paranormal investigator Rochelle G goes exploring this haunted abandoned house and experiences what she calls decades of anger. Built in 1920, this place could never keep a family for more than a few years before something terrible happened to them. Police were always involved. Something about this house makes people upset, volatile. The longer they stay here, the worse it gets. Rochelle can feel the paranormal energy as soon as she sets foot within this haunted place. Abandoned are the families, but not their memories or their presence. She finds a room that's creepier than the others, one that's been barricaded from the inside. Listen closely. What you're about to hear is one of the scariest EVPs ever caught on camera. Somebody has pushed a dresser under the knob of this door, like they wanted to keep a family member from coming in to get them. When Rochelle opens the door, a creepy, disembodied voice floats in her ear and whispers, "Hey." This room looks like a remodeled front porch that was only halfway finished before the family vacated. Above her is an unfinished attic space that makes many people feel creeped out. There's no way to get up there, so she keeps exploring this room and finds more creepy things caught on camera. Dozens of family photos next to an old blue chair. Leaving family photos is weird enough, but why in a giant unorganized pile? It looks like somebody thumbed through them one by one while sitting on the chair, perhaps looking at pictures of their family members one last time while waiting for the police to arrive. It's a creepy thought and we'll never know the real explanation, and when Rochelle tries to communicate, the spirits are too angry to cooperate.
Do you need help?
If this video is real, and I think it is, then this is one haunted abandoned house that should have stayed hidden. I doubt anything good happens to those who dare go exploring its hateful walls. A YouTuber named MKP Studios wants to record some creepy Alexa moments on camera, so he decides to ask Alexa some creepy questions to see how scary Alexa can get. He starts off by asking Alexa a question about passing away. At first, he receives a thoughtful reply.
Everyone has their own views on that question.
But then he makes the mistake of asking the same question twice.
Ask that once more. Alexa, what happens after death? She just straight up doesn't answer that second time.
He says that Alexa mysteriously turns off by itself, but at 4 minutes and 8 seconds, it looks like there was some quick editing to make it look like that's what happened. Anyway, there's one creepy question that you should never ask Alexa, so that's exactly what he starts asking.
Give me the 5-9.
Proceed carefully, because your choices are recorded, and your every move is watched.
There are no cuts this time, at least none that I can see. It seems like Alexa just straight up warned him that he was under surveillance for saying some kind of code phrase. He's already feeling watched and paranoid, and what makes this scary Alexa moment even scarier is that Alexa won't stop referring to him as a friend.
So,
Hello, friend.
Alexa,
Welcome to the Daily
stop.
Hello, friend.
What the is happening? Alexa, stop talking.
Hello, friend.
The only way to make Alexa stop saying the mysterious response is to unplug it. Later on, he decides why not see if he can get some scary Surrey responses too. To be honest, Surrey responds with mostly normal answers. That is, until the program slips up and possibly reveals who it's really working for.
Hey Siri, can I speak to the devil?
Sure, I'm here.
That's creepy.
He can't believe what he hears, so he decides to ask Siri the same question in a different way, hoping to get a different response. This time, he uses a word I can't say. It's another name for the Lord of the Underworld.
Can I talk to
Of course. That's what I'm here for. Go ahead.
No such luck. Surrey responds. Surrey answers the question both times in the affirmative. I definitely agree that such a scary response from Surrey would be creepy to hear, especially while alone in your house. I'm hoping that Surrey somehow misheard him both times, but something tells me it knows exactly what he's asking. I wouldn't recommend asking Surrey and Alexa any creepy questions unless you want some strange moments of your own. A YouTuber named Captain Bob Hartzell finds himself in the sea caves of Devil's Island in Wisconsin when he feels uneasy and decides to start recording. Watch this part and tell me if you see something strange in the distance. A vaguely human outline can be seen standing directly in front of him. I guess this could just be a small cave opening, but this island is rumored to be haunted by numerous spirits and even a cave monster, so anything is possible. All I know for sure is that Bob feels like he is not alone, starts recording wildly, and manages to capture a silhouette roughly the same size and shape of a human. Everyone is afraid of the boogeyman, but most people chalk him up to childhood nightmares. But what if the boogeyman is you? This video, published to YouTube in February of 2009 by Dog4Man92. Once you see a reflection take on a life of its own, you'll wish this video never existed. The video at first appears normal, a man and his reflection more or less angled accurately in relation to each other. That is, until this uncanny moment where the reflection turns. The look it gives its double is a bit more than unnerving. Seeing this video may make you be wary of your own reflection. As YouTuber Sophie Bell notes in the comments, the creepy thing is, unless you are looking at it, all you can see is yourself, so you never know if your reflection is looking back at you. The next time you gaze at yourself in the mirror, don't you dare look away. Was this paranormal or a simple camera trick? Either one seems freaky to me. In 2010, a man from South Jersey named Nick mysteriously went missing. His older brother Mark vanished shortly thereafter. Their small town was devastated by these back-to-back disappearances and feared the worst. There wasn't a shred of evidence for police to go off of, at least not until a few months later when one of Nick's high school acquaintances receives this mysterious post office package. Inside the package are memory cards and hard drives with hundreds of videos to analyze. Eerily enough, the return address was Nick's house, so either Nick sent this himself or someone else mailed it on his behalf well after his disappearance. Perhaps it was sent by whoever was responsible. A lot of the videos are typical teenage vlogging material you'd expect from 2010. Basic stuff like making a sandwich or watching TV. But on the other hand, there are at least 30 videos containing super creepy information relevant to his whereabouts, or should I say his possible remains. Let's retrace Nick's steps. On September 3rd, 2010, Nick goes to the notoriously haunted Pleasant Mill Cemetery in Batstow, Jersey to see what he can find. On the other side of an old bridge in the woods, he sees some 1800 burial markers and an old church that makes him feel creeped out. Though whatever he thinks he sees while standing on this bridge is what freaks him out the most. This is where voices are said to sometimes be heard on the water. Tell me if you see anything. I honestly can't say I see anything strange, but maybe something was there that didn't show up on camera. The video ends with him running back to his car looking very serious and scared, wide eyes and all, so he probably really did see something strange. He never wants to go back there again, but at sometimes the experience eats away at him until a week later on September 10th, when he goes back to settle his curiosity once and for all, this time with his friend Austin. Night has fallen by the time they arrive. There's not much activity by the old church, so they walk over to the river. They don't hear anything and aren't really that scared, so they challenge each other to sit in the darkness under the bridge, the very same bridge where Nick first saw something, mind you. And as soon as their lights go out, they make contact.
You hear that?
When they turn their lights on to see what's out there, they see this broad goblin-like face looking back at them, soon followed by a splash of water, like something jumping at them, or else reaching up from the depths below. Away they run and away it follows. I don't know what this thing is, but since they've disturbed its home twice now, it decides to return the favor. What you're about to witness happened on the very same night. Nick sees movement behind this curtain wall and thinks it has to be his older brother Mark. It certainly looks like someone's hands, and yet no one's there. Suddenly it grows very cold where he's standing, cold enough to see his own breath, which is odd considering it isn't cold enough to see his breath when he's outside looking for Mark. They really should have stopped going there, but on September 18th they try again. This time, after following these strange lights in the woods, they discover something they were never meant to have. This nondescript book has no title, but I want to know more about this strange binding. It looks like part of a protective ritual, or maybe even a curse upon whoever opens it without permission. Nick grabs it and they go get something to eat, and that's subsequently when they start getting followed even worse than ever before. By now, Nick and Austin have developed somewhat of an unhealthy obsession with the Pleasant Mill Cemetery. It scares them, but it also attracts them and they can't stop going. Maybe something there is enticing them to return. Something that wants its book back. And the more times they visit, the stronger its presence becomes at home.
What? Tired of this. Wait. What the?
When you look at the picture before it falls at 10 minutes and 28 seconds, I think it's a picture of Mark, the older brother who would soon disappear. On September 27th, Nick and Austin make a discovery that they seem to shrug off but I think is important. It's inside of an old house that they find not too far from the cemetery. The outside looks like it went ablaze a long time ago. Through a square hole in the floor, they spy an area that looks like it could have been a secret chamber when covered. They get a really bad feeling and don't want to go down, but Austin makes a simple observation that I think speaks volumes.
Oh, it smells. Alright, we're wasting time. We gotta go.
It could be mold, or it could be a body that hasn't been disturbed in quite some time. Things get really crazy after they discover the possible body. By November 2nd, Mark is gone and nobody knows where he went. Nick goes back to the cemetery to look for his brother, and this final recording is what he finds. A tall figure with an all-white face marches toward him, with a long tool in his hand. All I will say is that it looks like Nick sadly met the same fate as his brother. A YouTuber named Mr. Technical Difficult and his friends are hanging out by a river when they see an old abandoned cooler on the other side. They don't pay much attention to it at first, but after a while they grow curious as to what could possibly be inside. Finally, they can't take the suspense anymore and decide to retrieve the floating container. What they find inside is troubling.
Open the hatch.
They remove an excessive amount of masking tape and pop the lid only to see a black-eyed doll peering back at them. The creepy doll is dressed in red suspenders and its head is turned directly towards the camera. No one knows what to make of this unsettling discovery, and they all stand around for a bit laughing nervously. To this day, the group has absolutely no explanation as to how or why this doll was sealed and sent down the river, or more importantly, who is responsible for this strange message. Two friends are driving down a quiet stretch of California highway when they notice a man dressed in all black is standing in their lane with his back turned to them. What's weird is how he is standing on a well-lit highway close to the street lamps, yet not a single detail is visible. It's easy to see everything that's around him, but even the headlights of oncoming traffic are not enough to illuminate him whatsoever. I do agree with the uploader that this is strange, but I'm not sure if this means he is a spirit or not. Let me know if you think this was just a broken down motorist or an actual shadow person. Old ship vessels are often known for their ghostly secrets. After all, they've seen the greatest evils on Earth in the name of battle. Published to YouTube in February of 2013, The Ghost Activity Abroad, this Navy ship, the USS Hornet, originally aired on DE episode 32. The crew member can be heard explaining how to use the EVP. When in the background of his discussion with the newbie, you can hear a strange voice, one that sounds like a little girl.
Alright, if you'd like to speak to us. Alright, if you'd like to speak to us.
It's hard to tell what the girl is saying without the voice being isolated in the audio file, although YouTube commenters have their theories. YouTuber Madcaps and Nemos writes, "It sounds like she said, 'Can you tell me why they forgot me?' Others here, 'Do you think they know they got me?' Some simply hear, 'Play with me.' What do you hear?"
Alright, if you'd like to speak to us. Alright, if you'd like to speak to us.
Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by BushWookie83, this redditor wrote, "Looks like Mike Myers paying me a visit. WTF is that? Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about."
Have you been? Hey man. That was cool. What are you doing? What's going on? You okay? Can I get away? Do you want me to say how you're doing?
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Duck Consume Bread wrote, "Man, I don't know how you could just sit there. I'd already be moved out, lol." While Neo1LoneWolf6985 wrote, "It looks like the reflection of your flashlight on your phone, reflecting on certain parts of the glass, giving off the illusion of a face actually. Looks like the exact same tattoo I have of Michael Myers on my arm. Which side are you on here? Let me know in the comments." Trenton and his friends are having fun fishing until he loses his expensive fishing lure under the ice. Thinking fast, he finds a long stick and tries to walk across the half-frozen lake to find his lure. Some patches of ice are dangerously thin, so Trenton has to constantly poke the ice in front of him to see if it can support his weight. One false step will send him into the freezing waters below. If this happens, the ice around the edges might break away when he starts to climb out. Eventually, Trenton gives up on finding the lure and simply focuses on getting back alive. He spends almost 10 minutes carefully navigating the ice and nearly reaches the others when he makes a mistake.
You're fine.
Trenton is incredibly lucky to be back in shallow waters when this happens. His feet hit the bottom and he is able to quickly pull himself out. If this happened in the middle of the lake though, he would have been over his head and only had seconds to react. A Reddit user named Addison W has posted one of the creepiest things ever caught on Doorbell cam to the Chills Narrator subreddit. A large, scary man bikes up to their front door and has this to say.
I'm sorry. Looked in one day and saw you. Oh God, I can't stop.
The creepy man has his face covered and a light on his head that could be used to better see into people's windows. I don't know which is creepier, the fact that he has apparently been looking into the windows of random people's homes, or the fact that he calmly confesses it to them later into their doorbell cameras. At any rate, I really hope this person is just a random stranger with a dark sense of humor and not somebody who has developed an obsession. Unfortunately, I think the chances are very high that this is somebody who is extremely messed up and cannot help themselves. Hopefully the police find him before any of his compulsions grow even worse.
I'm sorry. Looked in one day and saw you. Oh God, I can't stop.
This miniature forest figure has viewers puzzled. Posted on TikTok by Satpam Horror, a small Barbie-sized creature was captured walking at the edge of the forest. Watch closely.
Ada tuyul bah. Gila.
The figure looks just like a human in miniature. What is it though? I'm not sure what this humanoid creature could be, but its movements do not look animated, and it seems to blend well with the setting. Any ideas? Leave them in the comment. Ika Tulit Jeed is from Indonesia, and her dog is focused on something she can't see, something she thinks is paranormal. The dog's making some weird noises at something, but paranormal? Let's see.
Kayak dia ngomong sendiri. Nah, lihat. Lihat. Dia tidak tahu dia lihat apa di situ, nah. Ini nih, dia lihat di sini nih. Tidak tahu ada apa ya.
I can't say that I see anything in the corner, which is creepy, but with that said, I've seen dogs act like this when they're expecting to get a reward.
I came from Yellowstone, and he was in the military and in Vietnam. I told them that Charles was not my boyfriend, he was a friend of mine that I was helping out.
Maybe she taught her dog to hold a pose to fake this paranormal video. If so, very clever. This bar ghost is one angry customer, posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Zazzy Malith. The Redditor claims this clip is video proof that the restaurant she once worked at was haunted. The clip shows security footage shot from behind the bar of the restaurant. A close-up reveals a glass sliding of its own accord and then appearing as though it simply hops right off the counter, smashing onto the floor. Nothing and no one caused it to fall. Zazzy adds to the perplexity of this writing. The glass that fell was one of those wine glasses that are heavier on the bottom to prevent it from falling over, and was sitting on a non-slip rubber mat used commonly in bars. Just one more reason to call in sick. Tyler Rowe works in a grocery store with a freezer that he and all of his co-workers are sure is haunted. First, it starts with these strange noises, almost like someone is trying to kick their way out. The kicking noises grow more intense until finally, at 9:02 a.m., this always happens without fail.
Here comes.
This time, Tyler is determined to get to the bottom of it. He bravely marches in and documents that absolutely nobody is inside the freezer. Watch this part and let me know if you can see anyone, because I didn't.
Is there a light in here? And there's nothing in here. There's nothing, nobody, anything. It's just open.
I can't help but suspect that a past employee somehow got locked in the freezer one morning and did not make it. Now they are trapped in spirit, kicking the door much like they did in their final hours on Earth. If someone can give me a mechanical explanation of why the door would burst open by itself at 9 in the morning every day, I would believe otherwise. What happens when the next generation wants nothing to do with the family property in the middle of nowhere? Published by Jordan Sovis, Jordan and Chris explore a house that's been abandoned out in the country for a couple of years. They crawl under the garage door and jimmy their way in using a credit card. Inside, they find a lovely piano for the ghost pianist to play. And while searching the place, they spot someone outside.
Dude, there's a dude outside.
What? Hasn't this place been abandoned for like ever?
Is this the home's caretaker or something else entirely? Using a pendulum, they start asking the ghosts questions. They ask if they're in good spirits, and they're told no. Later, they ask the spirits if they can make their presence known, and the spirit answers,
Are you present with us here in this house?
As they start to panic, the ghosts don't let up.
Did that seriously just happen?
Calm down, calm down. What is going on? Was that you?
For some reason, even after all of that, the guys stay. They again ask if there are spirits here, and this time the spirits reply with a song. The piano keeps playing, even after they've raced out of the house.
No way, dude.
Dude.
No way. Did that piano just seriously play by itself?
Do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
Still, they return. The piano continues to play, and then this happens. Not long after, the ghost goes full on poltergeist. Now we can see why this home was abandoned in the first place.
What was it? Go. You go first, man.
I don't want to be in this
Dude,
place.
I don't want to.
Straight up.
Holy dude, what?
Why are you laughing right now? Seriously.
What is going on? I'm delirious.
This haunting video of a woman in a cemetery is creepy beyond all belief. She thinks she's alone and the cemetery looks as empty as can be, but somewhere a child is heard screaming. She never shows what's going on in front of her, but that's because the screams are clearly coming from behind. She aims the camera down that way and only finds row after row of markers. No one is there, and yet the scary voices prevail. This one has to be paranormal in my opinion. A YouTuber named RJ32 is at the beach in Southern California when one of his kids sees a fast-moving round creature in the clear water. Watch this part and give me your best guess as to what this could be. And don't worry if you can't tell yet, because you and he are about to get a much closer look. RJ32 curiously walks over to where he last saw what he thinks was a flounder and starts kicking around. Panic sets in as he realizes he's uncovered a stingray that was trying its best to hide from him in the sand. I don't think the stingray is full grown, but take a closer look and tell me if I'm wrong. Mature or not, the tail seems like just the right size to go through your foot if you aren't careful. RJ32 gets a quick warning jab and is sent limping to the beach. If this is what a baby can do, I wouldn't like to see the work of an adult. Who would win in a swamp fight, a deer or an alligator? You're about to see. Published by Hazy Season in June of 2019. This scary video was captured at Squaw Creek Reservoir in Glen Rose, Texas. At first, the fisherman thinks he's looking at a huge fish.
Look at this. What is that? Is that a dead fish?
But as he gets closer, he realizes it's a deer in the water. The deer is no longer alive and it's being pulled down into the water's depths.
Looks like a deer, dude. It's a dead deer. Holy shit.
By something that is so far unseen. The crew is wondering what's gotten hold of it. They watch for a moment and soon realize a gator's got him. They then let nature take its course.
Dude, what happened? Did it just like fall down this hill? Holy.
Although we probably all could have guessed that the Gator would win this battle, I'm sure we were all rooting for the underdog. This strange sky sighting was caught on camera flying over Bavaria, Germany in broad daylight. I noticed some weird things about the audio, but first, try and translate this mysterious conversation from German to English if you can. I know that 9 means no, but I don't understand what was being asked. Anyway, aside from that, listen again to the weird noise that the object itself makes. I guess it kind of looks like it could be a jet plane, but the wings are too big and it really doesn't sound like one. Tell me if you think this was an experimental aircraft caught on tape or a strange sky sighting of something from another solar system. This is not a drone caught on video, but at the same time I'm curious as to what this actually is. This YouTuber takes his girlfriend on an adventure to go exploring a tunnel that's said to be quite haunted. The Blue Ghost Tunnel in Ontario is close to a graveyard that was not properly relocated and still has hundreds of unmarked burial sites. Well near the entrance, Jack hears strange sounds in the sky that sound like a train horn, but there's just one problem.
I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but listen in the background.
Trains would derail so often that the tunnel was soon condemned, so I have no idea what that sound was. When they get through the boarded up entrance, from deeper in the tunnel comes the voice of a little ghost girl calling for help. It could just be a squeaky piece of machinery, but I don't think so.
Hello?
A mysterious light way far ahead makes them both leave quick. You can see it comes from way too far ahead to be a part of their equipment, and besides that, they claim to not even have flashlights anyway. I don't know why you would go exploring a haunted tunnel without a flashlight, but I guess they weren't intended to go very far. Little did they know they wouldn't even make it past the entrance without getting freaked out. What would you do if you came across this chilling scene at night? Well, because there's a sign on the side of the road that reads "Free Cat." If it's there to lure unsuspecting people in, it's done its job. As these three stop their car to check out the makeshift animal shelter, as the trio approach the sign, they realize they're looking at something truly horrifying on a dark, deserted road at night. They conclude that whoever did this put the cats there because they're psycho. Couldn't agree more. Get out of there as fast as humanly possible. It's always unnerving when a complete stranger shows up on your doorstep, but even more so when it's someone acting like this guy. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Miss Doolittle Tex, the Redditor explains that this man showed up on her doorstep and just stood there, not ringing the doorbell. The video shows exactly that. He walks slowly and haphazardly to the door, carrying some plastic bags. Then he just stands there for a moment, appearing to be listening at her door, before turning around and heading back up the sidewalk. He isn't wearing a mask, and as the Redditor says, left as soon as her dogs started barking, but not for long. He is seen on another security camera, walking along some grass behind the houses. He simply strolls along the water and then disappears, but moments later is seen racing back, jumping fences along the way. Apparently someone had also trespassed on her neighbor's property the previous night. It's unclear what he did there, how long he stayed, or what or who he's fleeing from, but the Redditor didn't want to find out what his plans were. She called the authorities. This man doesn't appear to be in his right mind. Whatever this man's situation, most agree calling the authorities was the right thing to do. This YouTuber is exploring the Tulacker Abbey in Wales when he notices a strange animal face in the stone. It's hard to see at first, but you can make out the face of a pig here. This prompts him and his group to examine the area more closely. Eventually discovering a series of even more startling finds, they soon realize that this is not a natural rock formation, but rather some kind of ritualistic stone altar from ancient times past. The smooth surface was probably used for some sort of human and animal offerings.
Proper saints on it, little church thing there.
Finally, he zooms in on the clawed feet of the altar, and the video ends shortly thereafter. It's hard to say whether this is some kind of stage prop, or if they really did stumble across a hidden evil deep within an old cave. The friends seem more curious than scared, which is a strange reaction, but then again, if I was there, I probably wouldn't know what to think either. Overall, I'd say this video has a good chance of being real, but I would like to get some other opinions. Chris from YouTube channel Sees Crazy Crossroads is sent packing from this abandoned restaurant. He first hears a strange noise in the kitchen.
Sounds like...
He believes it could be residual noise from passing vehicles on the road. It almost sounds like a beehive swarming to me, but then he hears what he thinks sounds like voices.
I want to say that it sounds like a couple of different voices.
I'm not catching that, but I do hear the road noise, which is an eerie wail. He hears the sound again.
The phonic app's not working. I hope you guys are I hope this is picking that up. I mean, that's clear as day.
Well, I'm not sure the mic is capturing what he's hearing. It does capture this next voice, and it's pure evil. I don't blame Chris for leaving at this point. If I heard that, I'd be out of there too. This footage comes from a convenience store in India after it was captured by an old security camera late one night. An orb glows with bright intensity as it glides around the empty store at random. The next day, a group of workers watch the tapes in amazement. I normally don't include orb videos because they tend to look all the same to me, but this video looks a little different. First, it seems to match the same grainy footage of the CCTV system very well. Second, the sides of the orb appear to be shimmering in a random pattern that would be hard to fake. If anyone can translate what they are saying in this video, then please let me know. Also, tell me if it sounds like they are legitimately surprised or just acting. It's not often that the police show up during a ghost hunt. YouTube team Exploring with Fighters was exploring this abandoned school when they ran into some trouble. As they wander the halls, they see stuff has been scattered everywhere. Then they hear they're not alone. Should they leave? As they try to decide what to do, it's clear they're tripping over themselves. They're trying to exit through the window. After succeeding, they call the cops.
Yeah, YouTube is like.
Yeah, we just went in there. There's like 3 busy
Let's go. Where's the entrance?
Right, so you've got to go down the public footpath across the field. Yeah.
The police show up and are ready to search the place.
Oh, they've got him. They've got him.
Were the people inside just squatters, or were they up to something more nefarious?
Oh, there's the thumbnail, boys.
They head home for the night, and 24 hours later re-enter the school. You'd think they'd be alone this time, but then this happens.
Holy Right, wait. Calm down.
Did they really see someone in this haunted school? If so, where did they go? I think they witnessed a spirit squatter rather than human squatters this time. 1974, Disneyland opened up a new attraction called America Sings, where robotic animals would sing together as one. Animatronics was a relatively new technology at the time, and this footage was taken just weeks after the attraction debuted.
Yankee Doodle liked the South, sang their song so dear, thought they were most elegant for everyone to hear.
The show is going as planned until a loud interruption happens just seconds after the lights go down. What you just heard was supposedly the final screams of a Disneyland employee named Deborah Stone. Deborah was an announcer for America Sings, and she passed away after accidentally stepping into a powerful mechanical device used to rotate the walls of the theater. Apparently, Deborah's demise is a true story, but I can't tell if this scream was really hers or added in later. The scream itself does sound a little too clear to me, and possibly sounds like it was recorded using modern equipment, but I'm definitely not an expert in this department. If you think this scream was real, then be sure to let me know how you can tell. Most videos of unidentified flying object sightings are out of focus or simply blinking lights. This one is the opposite of that. The video shows a saucer-shaped flying object sitting in an open field near forest and mountains. You can see at least one figure outside the vehicle standing to its left. A close-up shown later in the footage reveals that the creature is the quintessential Martian. Overly large cranium, long thin limbs and all. After the Martian returns inside, a launching sound is heard. As the vehicle's engine revs up, in an instant the saucer shoots straight upward. The suddenness of the launch causes the person holding the camera to drop the shot downward before racing away on foot. What would you do if you encountered this at the edge of the forest? I just know I wouldn't be sticking around to find out. I don't want to go to Mars just yet. If something knocks on a door in an abandoned home, don't answer. Published by Indra Saputra Official in March of 2022, this ghost hunter is faced with something that wants in. When he opens the door, Indra finds an empty bathroom. After turning back to the rest of the room, he sees a shadow peeking up over a wall. It slowly pulls down out of sight.
Nggak ada apa-apa. Kita lanjut lagi. Itu apa, Cuk?
When Indra rounds the corner to look, nothing is there. Did the figure manage to creep out soundlessly? Or is Indra facing off with nothing but a shadow? Michael Manzo thinks there is something wrong with the snow. He grabs some from outside and attempts to melt it with a butane lighter. For some reason, it becomes blackened by the flame but otherwise remains in one solid piece.
No moisture. No dripping. Look at this.
Next, Michael takes more snow and holds it over an open stove.
No moisture. Look at this. No drippage.
Somehow, the snow fails to melt in the slightest despite being held over an intense heat source twice. This leads Michael Manzo to conclude that this is some sort of artificially modified substance made to look like snow, presumably from weather experiments of some kind. Let me know what you make of this video, because I honestly have no idea how this could be possible. A YouTuber named Dark Exploration Films is checking out an old abandoned police station in New York City to see what he can find. He makes his way through some old dark service tunnels and finally comes out on the other side. The police station starts off as a series of twisting hallways filled with old electronics, paper documents, and various forms of evidence. As Dark Exploration Films goes deeper, he finds a lonely medical wing filled with abandoned beds. The walls look particularly clean until he comes into a final room that looks absolutely wrecked.
Guys, I have no idea what we just walked into, but it's clear it's a medical room.
On the floor, he finds a red stain that he thinks is absolutely real, and based on the realistic splatter pattern, I tend to agree. He steps over it and finds one last scary item, a bright orange biohazard container with the lid open. The container is pretty much empty, but it doesn't exactly look clean. Hopefully the mysterious white powdery substance inside is just chipped paint flakes and not something that is dangerous to inhale. I wish him the best, but I hope there's more info on what was in that container. This strange knocking happens at the same time every night and no other times during the day.
2:30 in the morning.
This is definitely no animal. Whoever is knocking wants to make its presence known and apparently wants to get in now, immediately. I can also hear a strange paranormal voice before they knock during this part. I don't think it's the television because you don't hear it during any other part of the video. He shows us the outside of the trailer, and clearly nothing is out of the ordinary, yet when he returns indoors, so does the knocking from outside.
5 minutes has been doing it.
Hopefully whatever this is never gets the idea to try the door. A YouTuber named Bradinator conducts a risky social experiment to see what would happen if he pretends to be a Russian hitman in public. Bradinator doesn't actually speak Russian, but that doesn't stop him from walking around in a black suit and sunglasses speaking on his phone in a made-up Russian-sounding language. This alone is enough to draw some weird looks, but I think what alarms people the most is the steel briefcase he carries around and repeatedly makes a big deal over.
Excuse me, did anybody touch this case? Okay, thank you.
He never says it outright, but Bradinator seems to imply that something bad could be inside the briefcase, maybe even a device ready to blow. Watch this part and tell me what you would have done if you randomly encountered this briefcase laying there.
Oh, excuse me, sir. Watch out for the briefcase. Watch out. That's nothing. Don't.
At one point, he apparently creates enough of a scene for the police to come and give him a stern warning. Listen to this part and tell me if you think it's real.
I was just with my friend. I'm gonna show him a Russian hit my prank.
You come back, I'm gonna take you to jail.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
The voice of the police officer sounds kind of young, and the radio dispatch sounds like it could be a sound effect. Then again, they do briefly record a police car with its lights on, so maybe they really did get told to knock it off by the cops. Fallon Taylor is a YouTuber who got the scare of a lifetime while competitively riding. She has almost finished a timed run when a surprised audience member points to something off camera. Less than 4 seconds later, a huge white bull breaks free from its pen and nearly collides with Fallon Taylor and her horse. Watch again and you'll see how close Fallon comes to getting knocked clean off. She barely dodges the bull by a few feet and makes it back to the safety of the horse pen. At first, I thought the perspective made the event look exaggerated, but Fallon later says she had to put her arm out and could almost touch the bull. I definitely believe her, but I'd like to know how close you thought the bull was when you first saw this video. YouTuber Renoa Super Genius has something random to share. A random secret door hidden in a closet. She says that this door leads to the crawl space under the house, and nice cool air always flows from the crack in the door. Since it's getting a bit hot in the house, and with no airflow, the YouTuber decides to open the crawl space door, not only to cool the room, but to inspect, or mine as she puts it, the underground. After prying the crawl space up with a screwdriver, the YouTuber spans the area with a camera, and viewers see a whole lot of dirt, wires, and the structural foundation of the home. Not an unusual discovery below deck. When she descends down under, the YouTuber finds cables that don't connect to anything. As the exploration underground continues, she finds an old penny from 1951. One YouTuber in the comments, Kiji Hu, notes, "Don't they put pennies in places like this to ward off evil spirits?" In fact, it's true that some superstitious beliefs suggest that copper protects homes from evil spirits and the evil eye. Copper is also believed by some to draw good fortune, which is one possible reason why this YouTuber found a penny beneath the home. While crawl spaces beneath homes are not uncommon, most don't go exploring them, so you can imagine what secrets might be hidden under so many homes across the world. Alex Griffin runs a sports channel nowadays, but years ago he was briefly into conducting paranormal investigations at the most haunted places he could find. One such foray was the exploration of Boray Church, a place where organs are said to play by themselves and chanting can be heard from inside. There's also the ghost of Katie Borham, a housemaid who was said to have lost her life under mysterious circumstances that could have involved unknowingly ingesting toxic chemicals. Katie is the ghost they are hunting tonight, and so Alex Griffin and his friends logically start exploring the old haunted cemetery for paranormal evidence. They make the mistake of disrespecting her name along the way and start hearing some scary noises soon after.
I don't know what to say. Just shout out, Katie. Katie! What the f? What the f?
The amateur investigators run away at first, but soon agree that they can't leave the mystery unsolved and need to find more paranormal evidence. They return to the cemetery and the bravest of them steps forward to taunt Katie into showing herself.
See? What happened again?
So I didn't see anything, but he senses a ghost and I tend to believe him. After all, he was the one trying to impress his friends the hardest, so I don't think he'd run away like that and risk embarrassing himself unless he was really scared. The paranormal investigators step forward as one, and a single light glows in the woods even when their camera is not shining on it. It's not exactly the best paranormal evidence ever recorded, but the timing is definitely odd and makes you wonder what this light could be. And with their backs turned, the noise returns.
You're slaves tonight, mate.
It sounds like one of them would have thrown a rock or something and hits the top of the tin roof, but then again, this is exactly the kind of paranormal activity that this place is known for. It's years later and not one of them stepped forward to take credit for throwing a rock and scaring the group, so maybe this supposed paranormal activity is real after all. Ghost hunting YouTuber D-Dog Michael finds what he's looking for in this terrifying video. As he explores this abandoned place, the sounds are undeniable.
저기요. 그 소리야? 누구 있죠?
He hears another noise like murmuring.
무슨 소리야? 뭐라는 거야?
He then hears a snapping noise, like something walking, and for a moment he thinks he sees something.
어? 잠깐만 가지. 잠깐만 다시. 가지 말고.
Then there's a jingling right next to him. A series of unexplained events happen. Later in that same room, more mysterious things unfold.
조금만 둘러보고 나가겠습니다.
It almost sounds like he's choking. Things get darker from there.
에휴, 뭐? 에휴.
Michael hears something, and then he sees it. Here it is again. There's definitely a shadow moving in the darkness. Is it a person or a spirit? My vote is for the latter, because I don't think I've ever seen a creepier house. What is this creepy figure skulking in the darkness? The group encountered the creature at night hiding behind a pile of logs.
Have this. Come on, let's go. Hey, come on, let's go. Come on.
The figure appears like a woman, but not quite human. Take a closer look. Is this an extraterrestrial? A ghost, perhaps? Your guess is as good as mine. This isn't a gentle good morning. Published to YouTube by C4CAT in March of 2018. This is what happens when an early bird of a ghost is angry that you're not up yet. The video shows a man asleep in bed as window curtains nearly blow, at times pushing the entire curtain to the side. The young man at first remains undisturbed by this. At one point when the curtain is brushed over, you can see something white appear behind the bars of the window. Then an obscure flash of white passes close to the camera. Shortly after, there's a slow disturbance in the man's blanket. Part of it lifts until the entire blanket billows up. It's then ripped off of him by an unseen force. Like a bucket of cold water, this is one alarm clock you wouldn't want to wake up to. This video is the launching point of one wild ride. Posted to the Ring subreddit, Midship92 explains that his neighbor messaged, asking him to check on his wife who was home alone, because someone was trying to get inside. After going to check and finding no one, this friendly neighbor went back home, only to find this Ring video footage had been sent to him. The clip shows what the man just missed, a shirtless creep crawling up the front steps of the home, hiding his face away before trying the door in an attempt to break in. The man then lets himself down the steps and walks off. The Redditor adds in the comments, after doing this to several houses and evading police, he was finally caught. Finding the man was quite an ordeal. The Redditor elaborates further, explaining that during the police search, the suspect kept disappearing only to be seen again minutes later, after trying to catch the guy for nearly an hour, only for him to vanish into thin air. The police abandoned the search. Left to his own devices, the man again tried to get in through another neighbor's back door, but the Redditor saw him from his deck. He chased the man into another neighbor's crawl space and stood guard there until the police returned. Thankfully, the wild goose chase led to the wild goose being caught. Blurry Faces is a YouTuber exploring two mysterious schools standing next to each other. They were both built around World War II and have been abandoned for a long time. Everything starts out normal until Blurry Faces is exploring an upstairs room full of classroom furniture. After that, something seems to be stalking them at every turn. The strange banging noises only grow louder and more persistent as time wears on. I will give them credit for being courageous and sticking around for so long. This is the event that finally makes them lose their composure and scramble. This time Blurry Faces bravely tests the weight of the door himself and finds that it's way too heavy to swing open with such ease. You can tell he is putting a lot more effort into opening and closing the door than whatever just opened it moments earlier. Tell me what's written in Spanish across the door and if it has any significance to what could be possibly lurking inside. Japan knows horror. Here's a creepy clip from the Far East. Imagine approaching a traffic light only to run into this. A creepy woman at a pedestrian crossing in Sapporo, Japan seems to be in a trance-like state. Halfway through the pedestrian crossing, she stopped to stare straight at oncoming traffic, completely unmoving. Although it's clearly the time to cross, as you can see other pedestrians using the crosswalk behind her, she is at a standstill, staring off unnervingly, causing the driver taking the video to wonder what in the world is going on. Even as the light changes, the woman continues to stand there in the middle of the road staring. The driver passes around her, capturing the woman on video, still frozen in place as they pass her by. What do you think is going on? The woman's behavior is unexplainable. Seems like something might be in the water in Japan. Knows that in the wild, you're a guest in nature's home, except these people apparently. Published to YouTube by Cone Baby, this group was captured on camera getting too close to the wildlife in Yellowstone National Park.
Hey guys. We run into a bison here and stupid girls are approaching it. Bison can run up to 30 miles an hour and gore you to death, so who knows if I'd actually...
The buffalo at first looks like he's minding his own business, but then...
We're just gonna sit and watch him feed for a little bit and oh yeah, there you go.
In my opinion, this video should serve as a warning to anyone who visits a national park. Don't be an intrusive guest in nature's home. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.